Hey everyone, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where today it is time to continue our revenge tour, as today we are taking on Ultima Extreme on Mine difficulty. We have cleared Ultima Extreme on Mine difficulty before, but given we only cleared this and the next Extreme on Mine difficulty, before we had to start switching down to easier tiers in order to keep moving forward, we're gonna do this one and the next one on Mine to basically warm our group back up and get ready for the horrors that lie ahead. So let us begin with the Minstrel's Ballad, Ultima's Bane on Mine difficulty. For those who don't know what Mine difficulty is minimum item level, so the weakest gear you're allowed to have in the duty, and no echo, so no passive buff to make you stronger. Alright, we're gonna go directly to our successful attempt. No need to show you the 1 hour of attempts we had before this. Honestly, it went pretty well. I think this was only our second day of attempts against Ultima Extreme, so we were able to pick it up pretty quickly. Effectively 3 hours of learning before we were finally able to get our clear. So we've got a bunch of markers around. They're going to be useful largely in the last half of the fight, with the 1, 2, 3, 4 markers being specifically for what's it called? Etheric Boom 3. And then the A, B, C, D on the Cardinals is going to be useful for positioning for ads-related mechanics and other Etheric Boom-related mechanics. Alright, so starting off, we're going to start with the Garuda phase. It goes by pretty quickly. We don't really need to worry too much about the mechanics. The main thing to watch out for is Garuda will come down. There'll be a big knockback. I use Arm's Length to prevent the knockback, and then she'll cleave about 1/3 of the arena. Try to stand out of the region where she's staring at, and have your Arm's Length or Surecast up in order to avoid getting knocked back, because that can really screw you up, especially if it tosses you directly into her attack range. Get Ultima down to around, I think, 84, 83%, and we'll be able to move on to the next phase. And of course, watch out for Titan stomping down right after Garuda puts up a big vortex briefly. Alright, moving into the Ifrit phase? No, Titan phase. Alright, Titan's gonna have a series of those large earthquake plumes that either appear outside and then in, or inside and then out. There are typically quite a few save spots. We were using the dead center of the arena as a good save spot for the first wave of plumes. The second wave of plumes, we cannot use the dead center because they're a little bit closer together, and then they move out, so we want to move back to the middle. Get you down to around 70%, and Titan's going to be yeeted out, and we are down to just Ifrit, who's going to be summoning these eruption plumes under particular random players. So they're going to need to keep moving so that those plumes, 1, don't blow them up, and 2, ideally they can drag those plumes away from other players. I believe if this section of the fight goes on long enough, Ifrit will start appearing on the edge of the arena to do dashes. I forget if he actually appeared for us here. Oh, there he is. He's getting ready to do a dash. And leaves lines of eruptions on the ground as well. Or rather, plumes in this case. So just make sure you're continuously moving to get away from his line of sight when he appears to do a dash. And when you get the Ultima weapon down to around 50% health, Ifrit gets yanked out, and we are on to the Ultima phase of Ultima weapon. Alright, we're going to have 3 waves of Etheric Booms. To start, we're going to stand around 2 to get knocked back towards B. All the DPS and healers are going to take the Etheric Boom at B together, while the tanks take the Etheric Boom at A together. They kind of come out in this plus shape. The more people who are stacked together to take an Etheric Boom, the more the damage will be spread out between everyone. So, stacking is your best friend here. Shortly after Etheric Booms 1, there will be Magitek bits that appear in the center of the arena. We do not need to kill them, but not killing them makes our lives a hell of a lot harder than they need to be. So take down the Magitek bits. A short time later, possibly during the middle of our Magitek bits phase, 2 airships are going to come down in the center of the arena to do massive damage. Get to A or C to dodge, and then get back to work. That is the end of the first wave of Ultima's mechanics. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to be having Etheric Booms 2. For that, we will once again be stacking at 2 to get knocked back towards the southeast end of the arena. And then as a group, we're going to take this southern orb first, wait a moment for the healers to recover us, then take the northern orb. Meanwhile, the tanks are going to take the ones moving in from A and C. So a bit more complicated this time. We have 3 sets of orbs to take care of instead of just 2. And then more Magitech bits will spawn, this time on the outer edge of the arena, making it a lot harder to deal with them. You can't just AoE them down. Kill them as fast as you can. The more you get rid of, the safer it will be, because those line AoEs are a menace. Halfway through fighting the Magitech bits, there will be four airships coming down to do damage, so we want to stand in the middle to avoid that, and then return to killing the Magitech bits so that they're not making our lives unnecessarily difficult. The more Magitech bits that are alive when those airships come down, the less safe room there's going to be to actually dodge the airships. So you want to really try and get those Magitech bits down. Focus one Magitech bit at a time as a group, because fewer number of Magitech bits is more important than anything. Oh yes, while this whole fight is going on, Ultima will be sending out these orbs that will chase down players and do big AoE splash damage when they hit. If you get targeted by one of those orbs, you should probably just drag it away from the group and then take the damage. Healers, be ready to shield them. Alright, Etheric Booms 3, you need partners for this. Assigned to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our group took those 4 Etheric Boom pairs by going to the one clockwise from our assigned clock spot on 1, 2, 3, or 4. You want to take them in pairs, and healers, you gotta be on top of healing and shielding. Once the last Etheric Booms are done, there are no more mechanics except for an Enrage after a bit of time, where Ultima will cast Ultima, and if you don't kill before then, you wipe. But from here, we've got it. So, let's go ahead and wrap up the fights. All right. Very, very nice. I'm very proud of our group for taking care of that so smoothly. Oh, right, and also there is a tank swap mechanic where the tanks are going to be receiving stacks of a debuff, and if you get too many stacks, you just die immediately. So swap every few stacks of that debuff. Okay, then. We're going to go ahead and roll on loot, and then we're going to do a G pose, and I will go ahead and leave you there. Next time on Final Fantasy XIV, what are we doing? Looks like we are returning to the main story in more Heavensward. Learning more about the Noth's deity looks like is where we're at. I will see everyone next time for that.